you're looking for the best computer to help you run your real estate business, these two computers are what I would recommend. The M4 MacBook Air and the M4 Mac Mini. In this video, I'll explain the cost, options, and share 3 of the included Mac apps that help me get more done in less time. If you want to be able to work from anywhere, then I would choose the M4 MacBook Air. It's a laptop with a webcam, speakers, Bluetooth, and the base model offers everything that 95% of real estate agents need. It comes in 2 sizes, 13 inches and 15 inches, and 4 colors, sky blue, silver, starlight, and black. The 13-inch starts at $999 for a base model, and for $200 more, you can get the 15-inch base model for $1199. Personally, I prefer the 15-inch screen since I use it as a second monitor when I travel from office to office. And it's very light. The 13-inch weighs 2.7 pounds and the 15-inch weighs only a little bit more at 3.3 pounds. The base model comes with 16 gigabytes of memory and 256 gigabytes of solid-state storage. If all you're doing is browsing websites, looking up properties on the MLS, writing contracts, and email, this is probably going to be enough for you. Most things can be stored in the cloud, and it's probably a good idea to do so. Apple charges a lot each time you want to add storage, so you can also pay $200 to get another 256 gigabytes for a total of 512 gigabytes, but even 512 gigabytes won't be enough if you're planning on editing videos or storing large files. You might as well save the money and then buy an external hard drive, or maybe an even better option would be to invest in a network attached storage or a NAS that has local and offsite backups. That way your data is safe. The laptop comes with a headphone port and 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, which allow you to connect up to 2 extra monitors and any USB-C devices that you have, such as an external hard drive or a camera like the Pocket 3. If you only use your computer in one place, then the M4 Mac Mini might be the right computer for you. It's cheaper than the MacBook Air, but it doesn't come with a monitor, keyboard, mouse, webcam, and speakers. But if you already have those or don't need some of them, you can save some money buying this mini desktop. The base model is only $599, and like the M4 MacBook Air, it comes with 16 gigabytes of memory and a 256 gigabyte solid-state hard drive. The Mac has more ports than the MacBook Air. The front has a headphone jack and 2 USB-C ports, while the back has an HDMI port, an Ethernet jack, and 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, which can be used with your USB-C devices. I still use both my Windows desktop computer and my MacBook daily, but for the past 15 years, I really prefer using the Mac. So I'll first explain a few general differences between Windows and Mac computers. Then I'll explain 3 ways I use the included apps to make my business more productive and require less effort. The first reason I've stuck with Mac after being a Windows person for decades is that with Mac, I personally experienced very few crashes. With Windows, I would constantly save my work because I was worried about the computer freezing, resetting, or the worst, which is the blue screen of death. With Mac, I've also never had a virus issue, and the 3 Macs I've had tend to stay faster for a longer period of time. Being on a Windows computer just feels like there's a lot more friction. When I use a computer, I just want to use it, get something done, and then move on. And for now at least, my Mac is better at that. The second benefit of having a Mac is its performance. A few years ago, Apple started making their own processors. You'll know that it's an Apple Silicon Mac versus a Intel-based Mac by the M in front of the model name. All these M series Macs had a huge leap in performance over the Intel versions, and today you can do video editing with very little worries, even with the base model M4 computers. If you're just doing normal tasks like email, internet, searching the MLS, or watching YouTube videos, these M-series Macs will fly and do these things with ease. I've also tried tasks with heavier processing like rendering a 4K video while displaying 2 extra monitors, but the M4 Macs handle those without much effort. The performance combined with the reliability makes the computer last longer, and because of that are actually better value than other computers with similar prices. So I switched to a Mac as my primary computer 10 years ago because they offered this 11-inch MacBook Air that weighed only 2.3 pounds. I wanted to be able to keep this computer in my portfolio and be able to write a contract anywhere I went. I thought, if I had this computer near me, I would have a competitive edge and I'd be the first to write offers on hot properties. I could sign seller contracts anywhere, or just be able to deliver information within seconds of meeting somebody. Even today, this computer is still working for email, for browsing the internet, YouTube, searching the MLS. Macs really have that longevity, and probably even more so now that they have Apple Silicon. I used to switch Windows computers every 3 years because they would become absolutely unusable by that time, just either really, really slow crashing, or something would just break. My Macs have typically lasted more than twice as long. So my main computer that I use right now is still 5 years old, and I use it for video editing, streaming classes up to 100 people, and uploading huge files. One downside that Macs might have is that they might be more expensive than some of the cheaper Windows computers. However, my experience is because Macs last twice as long or more, I do believe they still deliver excellent value. So let's talk about some of the favorite ways to use the Mac for maximum productivity. iMessage. If you have both a Mac and an iPhone, you can send text messages through your computer by typing with a keyboard. Sometimes when we're getting a property ready, we're talking to handymen, painters, cleaners, the stager, the photographer, and the videographer. Being able to text everybody helps coordinate in the least amount of time, and typing is just so much faster when you're using a keyboard than just on your phone. Another great feature is that you can sync your contacts with your computer and your phone. If you need to make multiple edits, add in a bunch of new contacts, or just add some notes, you can do this all on your computer, which is much faster than doing it on the phone. With iCloud, you can also sync all your contacts, messages, photos, and other data and have them backed up to the cloud so that if you lose your device, it's easy to retrieve. It also enables you to retrieve any of your data on any device, such as your iPad, iPhone, or your computer. No lost photos, no lost contacts. With real estate being such a people business, the value of our business is in those contacts. The great thing about Apple is they keep developing better and better apps and improving the ones they already have. Here are my top 3 apps that are incredibly useful for realtors. Number 1 is the Preview app for PDFs. Preview is similar to Adobe Acrobat, but much more simplified and easier to use. If you're working on a PDF in Preview, you can reorder pages, you can add notes, split documents, and more. One feature that's actually built into the operating system is that you can take multiple files and in one click, combine them all into one PDF. This is very handy when we're done collecting the 30 or 50 documents that you need for a transaction, and we want to combine them all into one PDF for the client. So for me, I vastly prefer the free PDF software over Adobe Acrobat, and Adobe Acrobat actually costs $20 a month. Adobe Acrobat is also much slower and more complicated, especially for the most basic tasks. If you pay $20 a month for 5 years, you would have spent $1,200 on Adobe Acrobat, and you could have already just bought another MacBook Air. Apple Notes has become one of my favorite apps in the entire Apple ecosystem. Because it opens fast on my phone, computer, and iPad, I find it really easy to take notes in. If I have an idea, I can get it down in a few seconds on my phone, and when I get back to a computer, I can start working on it there. Notes can also be shared with your team. So for example, you can create a template note that has a checklist for your team to work on. Each time a new transaction starts, you can copy the template, change the name of the note to the address, and your team can immediately begin working. As things are done by you or your team, they can check things off, and everyone who has access to the note can see the updates, the current status on their phones or on their Macs. Apple also recently added a simple but game-changing feature to Apple Notes: collapsible sections. Let's say we're using the system above to coordinate listings. Here's a list of to-dos for the transaction, and once a certain phase is complete, let's say you've opened escrow, you can actually collapse the previous section so everyone can focus on the right tasks. Released at the end of 2022, Freeform is a drawing tool that allows multiple users to draw on a single document. You can add pictures, diagrams, notes, and even draw manually with an Apple Pencil. One way we use this is when we are doing renovations or repairs to a property. We might import a floor plan into Freeform, then we make notes and draw arrows on the items that need fixing. This makes it easy for any team member to coordinate the work and to continue progressing the listing forward. In the end, there might be ways to get some or all of these features on Windows, but to me, having all of these features designed and included by Apple creates a really smooth experience. Plus, the M4 Macs are incredibly powerful, reasonably priced, and include amazing productivity software all for free. This makes them my recommended computers for realtors. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think. What makes you like Windows or Mac? If you like this video, check out this one on how to manage email in less time as a realtor. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.